Kinesis pays you a monthly return in gold and silver simply for storing your precious metals with us, free of charge. When you purchase the gold and silver stored in our vaults, we create a digital record of your physical holdings. This way, the Kinesis Money Platform lets you easily manage your gold and silver anywhere in the world, and even spend your metals instantly with the Kinesis Visa Card. All the while, earning a passive yield. Anytime Kinesis gold or silver is bought, traded, or spent with Kinesis anywhere in the world by anyone, a percentage is paid into your account each month. Between October 2020 and October 2021, the yield return was 6.99%, paying out over $2.8 million to our clients, simply for holding their metals with us. Why accept precious metals services that charge you? Preserve and build your wealth with Kinesis Money.
Lesson 1. Money. Before traditional money, people would trade goods they wanted with goods they had. If I had apples and wanted oranges, and you had oranges and wanted apples, we could trade. The problem arises when one of the parties doesn't want what the other has to offer. This caused traders to find a suitable medium to which everyone could agree had value. Gold was that commodity. This precious metal was decided as valuable to everyone involved, so the price was set and currency as a medium of exchange was born. However, a problem soon arose due to the size and weight of this new currency. Holding large amounts of gold was highly risky and, due to its weight, difficult to maneuver. As a result, a system was introduced where individuals would store their physical gold with a reputable institution, known today as a bank, who would issue paper IOUs stating that the holder would be entitled to the same amount of gold upon request. These paper IOUs could then be used to pay for goods and services with the holder entitled to the underlying gold. And that's the story behind the creation of the first ever paper money, known today as fiat currency. Prior to 1971, the world's currencies were backed by gold. After the abolishment of the gold standard in 1971, all money printed lacked tangible value, leading to a tremendous amount of fiat money being printed, leading to a devaluation of the dollar and a correlated increase in public debt, creating the modern banking system we have today. Trapped in perpetual debt and with inflation eroding the value of your money. This chart shows what has happened to the value of the US dollar since the end of the gold standard. It also illustrates how the increase of debt has, in correlation, exponentially increased. Kinesis provides a unique solution by reintroducing a currency based one-to-one on allocated gold and silver, made possible by eliminating the need for a central bank via blockchain technology, allowing you the freedom to transact beyond the control of financial institutions. This revolutionary technology provides a return to a sustainable monetary system based on physical assets, with full control and trust placed back in the hands of the people who own it. Lesson 2. Digital Gold. You may ask yourself why Kinesis has digitalized gold. Firstly, you must understand that digitalizing gold does not mean using some new space-age technology to beam up your physical bullion, erasing it from the real world and losing it down a digital wormhole it can never return from. Far from it. Digital gold, simply put, is an online record of the physical bullion that you own, stored in highly secure vaults all around the world. When you make a payment using your debit card, the Kinesis system updates how much physical gold you have in your account. In the past, owning gold was about buying something of value to store as a safe haven investment and waiting for the price to go up or remain stable against unpredictable markets. It's also very heavy and not practical to use in everyday life. Hence the reason paper money, backed by a gold standard, was created in the first place. This led to gold being stored away in vaults, untouched and gathering dust. In 2008, an irrefutable digital ledger storing all transactions across many computers, making the records impossible to alter, was born. They called it the blockchain. This allowed companies to operate independent of central banks. Due to its transparency, accountability, and auditability. With this ingenious invention, it's now possible to buy, sell, and transfer your physical gold anywhere, anytime, with the click of a button. Coupled with all the safety, security, and transparency that wasn't possible before its conception, allowing gold and silver to be used as a viable currency once again. With a quick swipe of your Kinesis debit card, it's now as easy to make a purchase of your regular morning coffee in gold as it is to drink it. Perfect. Lesson 3. What is KAU and KAG? 1 KAU equals 1 gram of gold, and 1 KAG equals 1 ounce of silver. When you purchase Kinesis KAU or KAG, you're buying real gold or silver, which is legally titled to you and sits across our network of vaults. There are 2 ways you can convert your money into KAU and KAG. Firstly, we have the Kinesis exchange, where you can purchase small amounts of KAU and KAG. This is where you can bring your fiat currency and cryptocurrencies to exchange them for our one-to-one gold and silver-based currencies, KAU and KAG. Secondly, we have the Kinesis Mint, which is where you need to purchase larger amounts of KAU or KAG. The minimum purchase amount from the Mint is 100 KAU or 200 KAG. The reason for this is for those who mint and hold, or mint and spend, or send, or sell via the exchange, are entitled to Kinesis yields, which will earn participants a passive income, which we will cover in a later lesson on yields. Let's explore a little further. Susan purchases 100 KAU on our online platform, known as the Kinesis Mint. A special pricing algorithm determines the best price available in real time, providing access to extremely competitive pricing on your KAU or KAG. She is now effectively acting as her own central bank. She's purchasing real gold that will be stored in a secure vault and then digitalized into her Kinesis wallet. Once Susan has minted her gold, she can now spend or send her KAU, just like any other currency. Best of all, she's able to load her Kinesis debit card simply and securely with a few clicks of the mouse. All the while, every transaction Susan makes attributes to her minter's yield, which accumulates on everything she spends for life. Spending KAU and purchasing her favorite sandwich from her local bakery can now be done with a simple swipe of her debit card. Susan also sends money abroad regularly. With Kinesis currencies, she can now send money in a matter of seconds, anywhere in the world, no matter the time of day. Saving Susan time and money when sending in a price-stable commodity such as gold, avoiding the pitfalls of traditional currency conversion rates and fees. Lesson 4. The Kinesis debit card. John has just ordered his debit card via the Kinesis Money platform. Within a few days, it's been delivered to his doorstep. Before John can start spending, he must load his card. Using our online platform, Kinesis Money, in just a few clicks, John can simply and easily convert his fiat or cryptocurrencies into KAU and KAG. Once converted to fiat using the exchange, he's ready to top up his card and can begin to spend Kinesis currencies anywhere in the world that accepts Visa. By converting all his currencies into KAU and KAG, John now holds all his money in physical gold and silver and is now open to all the benefits of the Kinesis system. Every time John swipes his debit card, 0 transaction fees occur. There's only a small 0.22% to 0.44% top-up fee incurred when loading the card initially. By digitalizing precious metals, Kinesis can measure and track all the transactions and fees globally and what your proportionate ownership and entitlement to all fees we collect are, giving you a fee-sharing yield that's paid monthly in gold and silver into your Kinesis wallet. Furthermore, as Kinesis does not charge any storage fees for holding your gold and silver, Kinesis can become a far better choice to use as money over traditional currency and a superior method of holding precious metals. Kinesis rewards its users when they spend, send, and buy and sell on the Kinesis exchange. These rewards accumulate over a lifetime and can generate a passive income. This makes transacting with Kinesis a more attractive offering than many forms of money available in the world today. Lesson 5. The Exchange. Simply put, the Kinesis Exchange is a trading hub where people can buy or sell KAU and KAG, KVTs, and other digital currencies using fiat currencies or cryptocurrencies. This is similar to when you go to change your money before you go on holiday, changing the currency you hold into the currency you want, or at a precious metals exchange where you purchase physical gold or silver. The KAU and KAG that you purchase via the Kinesis exchange gives you, the holder, legally allocated title. This means you're the owner of your gold and silver, not Kinesis and not the vault. It's your currency and you've created it by acting as your own central bank and is fully redeemable at any time. The Kinesis exchange is also a part of the Kinesis money payment platform and serves as a quick and easy way to convert your paper into digital gold and silver. All the gold and silver that backs the Kinesis currencies one-to-one are fully audited by a third-party auditor inspectorate. They ensure there's exactly the amount of metal in the vaults as has been created in the Kinesis mint. The Kinesis exchange also allows you to watch markets in real time, with charts and stats enabling you to make an educated decision on the best time to convert your currency into KAU and KAG. You can even sell your KAU and KAG on the exchange at any time. When you want to convert your metal back to fiat or cryptocurrency for easy withdrawal. Lesson 6. What is a yield? A Kinesis yield was put in place to overcome a fundamental law of money called Gresham's law. Gresham's law states that bad money will drive out good money. This happens with gold and paper currency. Because the perceived value and nature of gold is seen as good money, people are more likely to hold it and save it and spend their less valued paper currency instead. Digitizing gold and incentivizing its use with our unique yield system defeats Gresham's law and drives mass adoption. Kinesis gives a yield or return on the Kinesis currencies in the form of fee sharing. We call this a fee sharing yield. Kinesis takes a small percentage fee for loading KAU onto your debit card, sending to other Kinesis wallets, and an even lower percentage fee on all transactions done via the Kinesis exchange. All of these fees are collected and go into what we call the master fee pool, and are then distributed back to our customers in various proportions. We have 5 various yields in Kinesis. We have one for the people who want to bring larger quantities of gold and silver into the system, which we call minting. Purchase gold or silver via the Kinesis mint or exchange, and there's an associated minter's yield. We have one for people who purchase gold and silver, KAU and KAG, to hold it in their account rather than spending. This triggers our holder's yield, similar to a savings account or investment account. Just like any other program in the world, we want to encourage use. Therefore, we reward people for inviting friends, family, or colleagues with a referrer yield. This helps create the adoption of the system and helps people spread the word with a reward. Next, we have a depositor's yield, which is designed to give people a reward on their first deposit in the system as an incentive to get started. Finally, we have the most powerful yield in the Kinesis system, the KVT, or Kinesis Velocity Token Yield, which is the largest fee-sharing yield pool offered, and KVTs are capped to the 300,000 tokens that will ever be issued. Lesson 7. Minter's Yield. Kinesis takes a small percentage fee for loading KAU onto your debit card, sending to other Kinesis wallets, and an even lower percentage fee on all transactions done via the Kinesis exchange. All of these fees are collected and go into what we call the master fee pool. 5% of all these fees in the master fee pool are allocated to the minter's yield pool. The minter's yield pool is shared with all people eligible for the minter's yield. So how much does someone earn who's activated this yield? Well, that depends on how much metal they've purchased proportionate to how much metal is in the system. Let's simplify with the following example. Imagine the total amount of KAU that has been purchased in the system is 900 KAU, equivalent to 900 grams of gold, and John decides to purchase 100 KAU. The total metal pool in existence is now 1000 KAU. As John now owns 100 KAU of the 1000 KAU total, he owns 10% of all the gold currently in the system. So therefore, John is entitled to be paid in KAU, 10% of the total minter's yield pool. That's because minting yields are proportionate to how much metal the user has minted against the total metal that exists in the system. So, to recap, 5% of all the transaction fees from the master pool go towards the minter's pool. And John is entitled to 10% of that, as he owns 10% of the total metal in the system. John's yield payments will be made in KAU into his account each month, and are his to do with what he likes. Minting is all about bringing more physical gold and silver into the system. To qualify for the minter's yield, you first need to purchase a minimum of 100 KAU or 200 KAG at a time in the Kinesis Mint. Secondly, to activate the yield, you need to use your KAU or KAG, either by loading your debit card, transferring between Kinesis wallets, or selling gold or silver on the exchange. The minter's yield becomes valuable everyday spending yield, what we call an active yield. It's active because the funds must be put into action to generate an income. This is where the minter's yield becomes very valuable for people who are minting their everyday spending money on a regular basis. As soon as the minter's yield has been activated, you'll receive a return on that original transaction every month, paid directly into your exchange account, forever. The minter's yield allows you the opportunity to earn a percentage of all transaction fees just for simply using and spending your money every day, like you would your salary. Imagine every dollar you've spent in your life to date was recorded and gave you a return in gold and silver every month for the rest of your life, based on the transaction fee sharing of every person using Kinesis currencies globally. If you choose not to activate your minter's yield and you choose to hold your gold as savings or investment, you'll then qualify for the holder's yield. This will be explained in the upcoming video. Lesson 8. Holder's Yield. Kinesis takes a small percentage fee for loading KAU or KAG onto your debit card, sending to other Kinesis wallets, and an even lower percentage fee on all transactions done via the Kinesis exchange. All of these fees are collected and go into what we call the master fee pool. 15% of all these fees collected go into the holder's yield pool. The holder's yield pool is shared with all people eligible for the holder's yield. The holder's yield is very much a passive yield, meaning once you've purchased your KAU or KAG, you simply just hold the metal. You don't spend it or transact with it. It sits in a vault with zero storage fees, and you collect a holder's yield. So how much does someone earn who qualifies for this yield? Imagine the total amount of KAU that's been purchased in the system is 900 KAU, and Susan decides to purchase 100 KAU. The total metal pool in existence is 1000 KAU, 1 kilogram of gold. As Susan owns 100 KAU of 1000 KAU total, she owns 10% of all the gold currently in the system. So therefore, Susan is entitled to a 10% share of the total holder's yield pool. To recap, out of all fees collected by Kinesis that go into the master fee pool, 15% are allocated to the holder's yield pool, and as Susan owns 10% of all the metal in the system, she receives 10% of the total holder's yield pool, for as long as she holds the KAU. If Susan decides to transfer, send or spend any of these KAUs, as long as she initially minted them, that portion of her KAUs will move into activation and be attributed to her minter's yield. Any portion of gold coming out of her holder's yield will decrease the percentage amount of Susan's ownership of the total volume of gold. Therefore, the minter's yield will go up and the holder's yield will come down. A holder's yield rewards Susan for choosing to keep her savings or investment money in gold and silver, counteracting inflation and paying a fee-sharing yield on top of the price movement of gold and silver. Lesson 9. Referrer Yield. To encourage adoption and use, Kinesis has created one of the world's best referral programs. We've created an attractive incentive to bring entire communities, countries, and governments into the system of using real money once again. By becoming a referrer, it simply means that you refer an individual or business to use Kinesis. Let's say Jamal refers 5 people and each of those people opens a Kinesis account. Each of the individuals that use Kinesis will have a total monthly spend. 7.5% of all the transaction fees accumulated from the spending of Jamal's referees will be paid back to Jamal at the end of each month in KAU or KAG, for as long as his referees are active. This is not a multi-level tiered structure. It's a flat structure, just like any other referral program. But other than giving you a one-off payment, Kinesis has decided to tie you to it for life, to contribute to the overall fee-sharing yields of the system, which ultimately benefits you and all involved. It's the accumulation of multiple yields that starts to make Kinesis a very attractive option over any monetary system available today. Kinesis is an honest and fair system designed to incentivize use and reward those who participate and help us grow. As we grow and more users start to adopt Kinesis currencies, so do your yields. Let's explore this simple example. Kinesis recruiters will receive a perpetual revenue share on all transaction fees on the Kinesis wallets they recruit. 7.5% of all the transaction fees accumulated from every person or company they've recruited will be given back to the recruiter. This is paid monthly and in gold or silver. Lesson 10. Depositor Yield. We like to reward new customers, and what better way to do this than at Depositor's Yield? Simply put, this yield rewards each person based upon their initial deposit and purchases in the Kinesis exchange. After you've deposited fiat or cryptocurrency into your Kinesis money account, you can then use the Kinesis exchange to buy KAU or KAG. Any KAU or KAG that you purchase in the 2 weeks following your initial deposit are calculated to give you a net KAU and KAG position. If you buy more than you sell within this period, Kinesis will pay you your proportion of the 5% yield pool for depositors for life. Lesson 11. The Kinesis Velocity Token. Let's assume the current market price of a KVT is $1,000 and are limited in supply to 300,000 tokens that will ever exist. Now the public sale has completed, KVTs are available on the Kinesis exchange. KVTs entitle the holder to the largest of all the fee-sharing yields offered by Kinesis, at a proportionate 20% share of all the transaction fees accumulated in the master fee pool. KVTs have been made available by Kinesis as a launchpad to drive participation and adoption of the entire Kinesis system. Kinesis's mission is to impact 1% of the physical gold market over the next 3 years, which currently has an approximate market cap of $7.8 trillion US. We explore a scenario of a 1% infiltration into the physical gold market. So let's break this down for you. If John owns 10 KVTs, he'll receive 20% of the total transaction fee pool, multiplied by the amount of KVTs he holds, divided by the 300,000 tokens that exist. At 1% infiltration, Kinesis would have a market cap of $78 billion of KAU. Now let's talk about velocity. Velocity is the rate at which money changes hands. Velocity in Kinesis is a measure of how much the market cap is being transacted per day. A velocity of 10% in our example would mean that $7.8 billion of KAU was being transacted per day. To calculate the total volume of transactions in a year, we multiply this by 365, giving $2.847 trillion. In this example, the 0.45% transaction fee that would be relevant for sending money locally or internationally is taken into account. The fees on $2.847 trillion in transactions at 0.45% would equal $12,811,500,000. These will go to the master fee pool. From the master fee pool of $12,811,500,000, 20% or $2,562,300,000 will go to KVT holders, which will then be equally divided by 300,000 and then multiplied by the amount of KVTs that you own. So to reiterate, 20% of the master fee pool of $12,811,500,000 equals $2,562,300,000. Therefore, $2,562,300,000 divided by 300,000 KVTs equals $8,541, paid in KAU per KVT. This will be paid monthly to KVT holders' accounts in KAU. This amount of KAU that you could receive in year 3 may be 8.5 times the amount that you originally paid for the KVT, worth $1,000 in this example. The power of the KVT becomes apparent when we look at how Kinesis partnerships, commercial integrations, and government partnerships are all growing and taking shape. We can also see how powerful KVTs could become in the future. The Kinesis Velocity token represents ownership in the growth of the Kinesis system. To get involved, go to kinesis.money. There are many risks, uncertainties, and other factors to consider when evaluating future performance of the Kinesis Velocity token.